I force all employees to dress like me. It's a big part of leadership.
What about the sneaker wardrobe?
Oh, no. No, I get mad at people when they have nicer shoes than I do. There's a little time. We just got done with a walkthrough, which he participated in, and then we'll take it step by step. He'll be working with the training staff today, make sure there's no setbacks, and see where he's at. And then if all signs are a go, then we'll give some practice reps a try, see how he responds to that, and with steady communication with everyone involved, we'll come to a decision on that. I've been, the team's prepared to play without him, but the team would also love to play with him. So we'll see how his ankle decides. I think that's he will be practicing today. It will be the first time they practice since I think November something. It's January, I believe. So what does that mean as far as the game? We have to. Time will tell. We kind of have to. You can't just go there and say, "Hey, you're going to." Yes, you're going to play, or no, you're not. We have to get him out there and see how he responds with that, and then how he feels and how convicted his body's allowing him to play, so that he can do right by himself and the team. Well, he just didn't have he doesn't have office hours relative to what needs to be done with his body or his mind. So if he has if he's working out a contusion on his leg, however long that process needs to take, he's not inching his way out of the door. He's doing coming early, staying late. If a game plan, if he didn't like the way that he executed some plays, or if he didn't like his ownership of the plays, there's been times that I see his car in the parking lot well after it's dark. So I think and then he's just his nature is to say to me that he's fine. However, our relationship is too connected where I'm like, what? You're just saying nonsensical words now. Let's have a conversation about it. And then he'll tell me. But he in that process, you can see a person trying to will himself to, this is not an issue. I need to focus on the matter at hand. That toughness for a football team from their quarterback.
It wasn't over on TikTok.
Hey man, I must be 10% entertaining then. But he just is relentless with that stuff. And it's a big deal for a football team when we have the leader that's he has the ball every play, is in the same, he's toughing out things that really at this stage of the season, a lot of guys aren't feeling what you'd call 100% just with the game of football. So if you want people to strain and separate, something that hurts versus an injury, and be I think as a leader, as a captain, you lead by example. So I know he knows that. He tries to exude toughness in any opportune time, and he's really willing to do whatever it takes I mean, case in point, he had issues with hitting his head on the ground. So he took jiu-jitsu and spent a lot of hours of his life training so that he could be proactive and preventative. You know, not everyone's doing that. Not everyone would do that. And you know, anything that he can control, he tries to take in his hands. And you know, he's my guy, man. Communication and focused, deliberate intent. I think, you know, practice. There's a lot of them, hundreds, and a lot of times you can take. It's every athlete's human nature, not every athlete, but a majority of them, to like not look at it as though it's the game, because it's practice. However, if you get yourself as close to that mindset of the game in practice, you are getting more reps at how to act and react in a game. So I think what it was, I think from a team-wide perspective, you know, I saw it wasn't that a bunch of people were telling me I got it. It was that I see better than I hear, and there was more communication, more you know, game-like attention to detail, you know, all the way to the little things of how you break the huddle, how you strain within the play. You are, you know, you're as good in the game as you're able to execute your assignments in practice. And I think guys have started to understand what that really means. How you can use practice instead of letting practice use you. I think it's significant for the organization, but more importantly, it's significant for the player. You know, I really I gravitate to the human experience of each individual player, and I can relate to you can't, you know, and you know, I think there's a way that I think he's understood in a much better manner. Like you don't need to be mad at any sort of narrative. You know, I'm not mad at. You have to understand it, and you have to understand that you're not. Should you be entitled for this, that, or the other? Fact of the matter is, he hadn't stayed healthy for a whole season. So what he did was he tried to take control of everything that he could control, and made that a goal. So that's a big deal to me when people are winning in that sense, where you're taking head on something that you can't control, and doing your best to control all things, and not doing anything, and you know, it just being at peace with what it is. And all right, if I want people to say that I have the ability to stay healthy, then I need to do everything in my power to try to do that. And then there's things that are outside of your control that if you do, you're at peace with it. Like you can't. So that's the ultimate test of what really pretty much every person has to go through, is you have to decide what is said or how you're perceived. You have to decide if you're okay with that, and if you're not, are you going to blame people for saying that, or are you going to do something about it? You know, so that's a big deal. Much like a lot of the feats that numerous individuals on this team, you know, that's why I'm so connected with all the people that they said you couldn't. I talk about it a lot with the offensive line and Raheem's story and Alec Ingold and et cetera, et cetera. That's a big deal because you have to focus on what you can control. It's a hard thing to do. You consider all things, but we're considering it under the veil of like we know and are very happy and can depend on the guys we have. I know, Agba and Mel are thirsty for the challenge. The whole room is. They're very much connected. So like, that's what their teammate would want, and that's what they want to deliver for their teammate and the team. So, I think if we might have acted differently if we didn't have so much, firsthand fact that we've witnessed day in, day out, that we know that the team's in good hands with with that group. So that's kind of how it rested. There's a lot of nuances to it. We had he was eager, as eager as really anybody, to force his hand with a soft tissue injury. So he was inactive 1 week, and then the following week, on the heels of do we press it? Do we allow him to get fully healthy, because he was letting everyone know what his mindset was, and then we felt with the practice reps and that went on in the individual week that was best served for the whole team and him to have him down, but that we've depended on him, and he's come through in a bunch of ways all season, and he's tough-minded, and I think he's got his energy focused in the right direction, which is okay. Well, this opportunity is the only opportunity. This game is, just in general, we've been talking about what type of team we want to be, and you have an opportunity to win the division, and that's important to us. So that the only way you can and should win in the division is beating division opponents. So that's where his focus is at, as the rest of the team is. I've seen a warrior, a true. He takes that C on his chest very, very serious, and that's so from the team's perspective, he's doing everything he can, and generally he can will himself to do pretty much anything, and most of the time he does. But the team knows that, so they he's really he's done some inspiring things, making sure that he's on the field, and he's a fast guy that cuts very violently. So I don't think people can totally understand the amount of toughness it takes to do what he does. That's just physics and science. That he is not he can't tiptoe around in his game, nor does he. And he's he's done everything that the team could ask for and more. And I think that's kind of helping guys really commit to each other, because that's what you need down the stretch of the season, specifically in January. No, I don't. I can't speak for other teams. this team, I think, does a pretty good job of understanding that each game is one in itself, and I think the expectations. I've never. That's just not part of the equation. I think it's one of the reasons this team has been able to minimize losing streaks to one loss all season. Is you understand that there's this is a tough game and an unbelievable league, and you have to earn everything you get, and then sometimes you are naturally humbled, but in that process, I haven't seen anybody literally waver or blink, and they have full expectations to put their best foot forward for this game, whatever day that is. Today's Wednesday. It's the only day that exists. I've seen. I would totally agree with that. I think it was, in all three phases, it felt like at that point in the season, we were, maybe the players were running the system that we have in each phase. Now it feels like they're owning the system, and there's incredible power to that. That's when we're at our best. That's what you're seeing. Are people that it's not anybody's play calls, systems. It's theirs, which I firmly believe, because they are the painters. So they're doing all the stuff. We give advice. We give every tool that we can possibly give in preparation, and then we try to put players in the best position to succeed. But they're the ones that are out there doing all of it, the doing part. So, and I think they, everything that we've, all 11 wins have been an orchestration of that. And, I think they're proud of that, and they take pride in their work, because this is their art, their craft, and they're not speaking a second language anymore. And that happens every year as you evolve. It's not just in year one or two of a scheme. You have to have true ownership for you to be able to evolve. And we've been talking about December and January all year, and they've taken it upon themselves to work at developing their craft. And along the way, it's not always easy, but that's what makes you who you are. You don't get that much better from all high fives. You need to go through stuff together to become closer, to have the things, the intangibles that it takes to move the needle when you're going to have good teams every time you're on the field that want every bit as bad to win that game as you do. So that when push comes to shove, something's got to give, and that it's all of that you compile for these moments, which is what you work for, what you play for. We're in the moment now, and it's cool to see guys really take ownership of their moment, and knowing that it's going to be a fun product Sunday night. But until then, we have a lot of work to do. I mean, home field advantage. I think it's you take all of the knowns, the controls of the situation, and you try to own them and have nothing reside as an excuse, or you want to win every single game. So but in the process, in terms of communication and how things are orchestrated, how you can communicate with one another, and just all the natural things that come with being able to hear. Those things prove beneficial to a degree, but it's also what ends up happening is teams that don't worry about home or away. You end up getting better in both. I think this team has earned confidence at home, but I know the Bills probably don't care about that. It's a football game that we've played this team the last 3 times in Orchard Park, which is a little unique. It feels like a lifetime ago that we played here at home against them. So that I guess in a sense it's just odd to play 3 road games against one team in a year. So that's kind of unique. But as far as whether that they just want to play and beat an opponent after not being able to sleep or harboring all the things that come with a collective experience like that, and we're eager to press forward and do something that we feel very fortunate to do, which is compete for a division, and something that has been on our mind since we started this in April.
Thanks, Mike.